Sir.
Okay.
Let's say that you get this ballot initiative done, you get all of the signatures, I know a little bit, put the cameras down, for goodness sakes. And you get all of your signatures and everything goes through, you're gonna need money to sell this thing. And you know that all of the unions are gonna get together with all of those politicians and come up with $1 gazillion to fight it. Do you have financial backers on this after you get it past the summary and judgment or something?
We're raising money. I have ballot petition. I have response cards. So if you're independently wealthy and you would like to write me a check, I'm happy to do that. But I do, and we are raising money. We are raising money for the ballot initiative. We've established our committee, and we are raising money. I've been down south and met with a few Orange County folks that are willing to help. And then also, I have some very large donors in the Bakersfield area that are willing to help as well. So I am raising money for that.
But it's going to take a heck of a campaign to, I mean, I think most of us, people like us, would be very receptive to it, but the negative stuff that's going to come out from the
There's going to be negative stuff that comes out, but in the there was a poll in the Los Angeles Times, and the Los Angeles poll, it was 76%. You guys help me out?
LA 76% favored a part-time legislature, in Kern County 94.
And 94, wow. And then in San Francisco it was 83.
Wow.
So, I mean, we have like a 12% approval rating. I mean, it's 12%. They said that on the last night. Somebody goes, we have a 10% approval rating. Somebody stands up and I, point of order, it's 12%. I'm like, oh, that's so proud. So, do you have questions? I'd be glad to, yes, sir.
Is there any way we can make the SIU a poster child for the next election?
Right, I would like to do that. The SEIU.
Yeah, because a lot of the Republican legislature are absolutely scared to death. I think, I call them state workers, Republicans, who are afraid to stand up to the SU. Can we get legislatures to say, every time they do something wrong, advertise how corrupt this union is, how much the state workers and other people are against this union, including Democrats?
It costs a lot of money to fight the unions. It really does, because they have, I mean, think about it. Think of all the teachers, the dues that they pay. It's millions upon millions of dollars a year just in our teaching for the CTA, whether you want to pay it or not. SEIU members, millions and millions and millions of dollars with all these state employees. They're almost at, total state employees are almost at like in the high 40s, right? They're almost between welfare and state employees. You know, they've got almost 50% of the vote. So, it's a lot of money. It is a lot of money.
But it has to be done.
But it needs to be done, and it is a lot of money to fight the unions.
Otherwise, we can enjoy this legislation forever.
Yeah, the bottom line is that even with all the influence of the unions or influence from whatever trial lawyers or whatever the influence comes from, get them out of the dang building. That's the solution I see as a business owner that's ran a business for 20 years. Get them out of the building. Mitigate our damages for 90 days every 2 years.
Isn't the best answer the Paycheck Protection Initiative right now? And if you want to do something to be involved with, I would feel that
I've actually raised money for the Paycheck Protection Initiative. We've raised money for it. We've sent money in. Ed Ring, I think, is the guy that's in charge of that. And so we have sent money in. We've had local donors pay for ballot signatures, and that would be really good. Well, if this bill passes that moves everything to November 2012, it would not be June, it would be November. And you know, if you guys can help gather signatures or contribute to that, that is an actual ballot initiative now. And what it does is it cuts off funding from the unions. So basically, instead of the state being a facilitator, me taking your state employees' money, taking the money out of their check and then writing a check to the unions, it eliminates the state from being a facilitator. So therefore, I have to call you and go, you didn't pay your dues, can you please pay your dues? You're behind on your dues, can I make sure you pay your dues? And kind of like a gym membership, they automatically get a deduction from your checking account, but if you have to mail it in every month, you might skip a few months. And so it actually, in other states where this has happened, it's reduced union funding dramatically.
Ms. Shannon, does that mean anybody can collect those signatures and put that initiative on the ballot?
Anybody within your county. Right now, because there's no restrictions that I know of, because none of these bills have been signed, they wouldn't take effect until January. But you can't cross county collect though. So like if I'm from Kern County and I brought a petition up here and I had all you guys sign it and I signed it as a Kern County person, I would not. Those signatures would be invalid because you have to be within your own county. And you have to be a registered voter to collect the signatures.
But if I turn it over to somebody in that county, they can sign it?
They can turn it out, yes. Right. Yes.
I've been places where a single individual
had several different things asking for signatures. He says, if you're in this county, sign this one, if you're in this county, sign that one.
Those are
That
paid
doesn't-
signature gatherers. And they are paid, like the Amazon tax, the repeal of the Amazon tax, Amazon jumped on board, got a referendum started. So people would piggyback on with the Amazon people so that if Amazon was paying $3 to $5 a signature or whatever they paid and somebody else could pay, you're standing out there anyway, I'll give you $1 or $2 to gather mine. And you're standing out there anyways. So that's probably what was going on where you had your signature. I can't guarantee it, but that's pretty much. There is
So if you're not a volunteer, if you get paid, you can work for more than one county than sitting in one. For example,
Yes.
you're in Sacramento County, but you can also collect Placer County people as long as you give them a different form.
I don't
Yes.
know about that, so you'll have to
Yes.
ask. Yes, he says yes.
Yeah, that's if you're paid, but if you're volunteer.
No, if you're a
you can't.
volunteer, you can collect signatures from any county. You just have to have them all in a separate form.
They can't be combined or
On the
cross-county.
same.
So all you need is, here's this county, here's this county, here's this county, then go for it.
Along with that ballot initiative is the repeal of SB 48, stop SB 48. That's the gay, lesbian, transgender, bisexual education bill, okay? That's the bill that's gonna hold our public school system, our students that are held captive in the public school system. You know, our kids are held captive there 6 to 8 hours a day, and it's gonna hold them captive and they are gonna be taught about gay, the way people have sex. There's no other way to put it. That's all there is to it. I mean, this person is gonna be recognized because of the way that person had sex, period, end of discussion. And that is not something that I think should be taught in our school systems. And you know what about the teachers who don't want to teach that as
Yeah.
well? You know, and parents can't opt out. Government is telling you, you can't tell your kids not to go. You cannot tell, I mean, government is telling you what to do with your kids. 12-year-olds can get sexually transmitted disease treatment without your parental consent. Government is way involved and too involved in our lives. Way involved, way overreaching. They need to get out, back up, and go away. Next question, sorry. Yes, sir.
Shannon, I had a question as far as when you campaign. I looked up the numbers from the primary and when you ran for assembly.
Yes.
They're outstanding. And the thing is, my question is, for candidates, especially women, what advice do you have as far as recruiting female candidates, but also what worked for you that you think that wouldn't work for a male when you ran? 'Cause that's kind of like a gridlock on that right now, recruiting females.
You know, I think, you know, I spent a lot of time in prayer. I was not looking for a career in politics, so I don't know if you could use me as an example like that. I spent a lot of time in prayer. I wasn't looking for a career in politics. I'd served my country. I'm a business owner. I toured the missions field. I worked with nonprofits. So when you look at recruiting candidates, we've started a thing called Fresh Pack, and there's myself, Tim Donnelly, Brian Jones, and Mike Morrell. And we're trying to get 2 more freshmen involved. And what we're doing is we're calling people, we're doing a phone call sweep. So we might pick up the phone and call business leaders, community leaders, church leaders, pastors. You know, Pastor, who would you recommend for somebody to run for office? Oh, you know, I don't know, Mr. Holland, you know, I've heard a lot of good things about him. And so somebody else might say Ted Costin, somebody else might say somebody else. But eventually, after you make all those blanket phone calls in that particular area with business leaders, community leaders, soccer coaches, you know, church leaders, one name keeps showing up, right? And then so then you call those people back and you go, you know, I know you gave me Ted's name, but would you support Mr. Holland? Would you support, you know, this person? And, oh yeah, I didn't think about them, but yeah, I'd support them. So then you narrow it down to that one individual that you get the most votes for in the community where they're at. And then you say, okay, if we got Mr. Holland to run, would you consider endorsing him? Yeah, I would. Would you consider contributing to him? Yes, I would. So you go through this whole process, and then you approach him and you say, look, you know, have you ever thought about running for office? And he goes, no way, I don't think I can get the support. Would it surprise you that we spoke to 500 people in your community and they're willing to support you? You know what I mean? So you guys have to do the groundwork. If you've got a candidate that you're looking at, but that candidate has to be willing to work hard too. I mean, when I set my mind to something, I try to do it. That's why this legislature thing is really hard, because I'm not a good failure. And I'm not having a good time here. The only way I have a good time is to antagonize the speaker or Luis. So, you know, I'll tell you a story about Luis in just a minute. But so if you find someone, if there's somebody in your mind that you think is a good female candidate, then start getting, and then go and approach her after you've gotten, you know, 10 pastors of major churches and, you know, that think, and then you tell them, look, this is what people think of you. Because when they came to me and they said, you know, do you know these people would support you? I'm like, you're kidding me. No, I know them, but you know, and it was so easy for me to pick up the phone afterwards and go, hey, would you endorse me? And they said yes. So that's how Kern County does it. And you have to understand that I walked into 30 years of an establishment, I guess you'd call it, I don't even know what you call it, but where donors know when Congressman Kevin McCarthy endorses someone, that's who they endorse. When it's just it's a unique thing. You know, they have the YRs and central committees, and everybody works as a team, and they have a crop that they grow up, I guess you'd say, to run for office. So they know who the civic leaders are, who the community leaders are, who the movers and shakers, who those people respect, and you have to have those people respect, you know, you as a candidate. So I would start laying the groundwork for, if you have somebody, then go to her sphere of influence, find out where she goes to church, where she does business, all these things, and start asking people about her. And you might run into a thing where you might think that person's great, and they go, oh my God, she's had 10 affairs, and she's done this and done that, you don't know anything about her, and yada, yada, yada. Then you need to back off that candidate, because they're not, you know, those things will come out. Believe me, everything comes out in a campaign. I am not a college-educated graduate. That came out in the campaign. She's not qualified to run for office. She didn't graduate from college. And I'm like, wow, I've served in the military, I ran a multi-million-dollar business, and I'm not qualified. But,
Speaker.
oh yeah, because he didn't graduate, yeah. So I have to share a little story about Alejo. So Alejo is supposed to be what they call a mod Democrat, right? And he sits next to me. Like, my seatmate is down low, but across the aisle right here is Alejo, Luis Alejo. He's with Watsonville. So anyways, one day, speaker comes up and goes, I need you to vote for this. And he goes, no, sir, no, sir, no, sir, I can't. And he goes, I need you to go up, Luis. And he goes, sir, I just can't. Go get Carter. And he goes, I'll get Carter after I get you, but I need you to vote for this. It was the letting the AB9, or what is the one about getting prisoners out of jail? SB9. So SB, there's so many bills I can't even remember all of them. So SB9. So anyways, he goes, I need you to vote for this, Luis. Come on. And he goes, sir, I just can't. And he's like, sir, I just can't. So this goes on for a few minutes, and he goes, okay, sir. And he pushes the button. And he walks away. And I text the opponent that I've got running against him, the candidate I got running against him. And I looked at my phone, and I looked at him, and I said, wow, Rob Bernowski wouldn't have voted that way on this bill. And he goes, I don't vote the way that Rob Bernowski would want me to vote. And I go, I know you vote exactly like the speaker tells you to. So he gets up, and I have my phone. So he gets up, and he runs across the room, and he's a little guy, and the speaker's real big, so he's looking up at the speaker, and he's just talking, and he's pointing at me and everything, and I'm taking pictures with my iPhone. So he comes back over, and he releases the no vote, and he gets off of it, or the yes vote, and he gets off of it. And I go back to my phone, and I showed him the picture, and I go, you know what this is? And he goes, what? And I go, that's you changing your vote after the speaker gave you permission. And he goes, just shut up, Grove. So it's fun just to irritate him. He's about this tall, bless his heart, you know. And so when he gets on my nerves and he goes on and on, one time he goes, I was talking, and he grabs my arm and he goes, shh, the speaker is speaking. And I go, whatever. Anyways, and I kept on with my conversation, and he goes, I can't believe you're talking when the speaker is speaking. And he just kept going on and on. It's like a little chihuahua. It's like, just like this. And so I just stood up. And when I stood up, I looked down at him, and I go, leave me alone. And so it's just fun to antagonize him. It is. I mean, you gotta have fun, because it's, you know.
Are you picking on the little guys? Is that what you're
I pick on little guys.
Okay.
Next question. Sorry. Anybody else? That's a fun story. Anybody ask me. I'll answer anything. I don't know.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I believe our governor said that administrators shouldn't make more money than the governor. I believe that was him stating that he was sounding like he was going to put a cap on administrative pay, and it really perked my ears up. And I was wondering if that was a hollow threat that didn't really mean nothing, because Tim Donnelly got him to admit that unions were a big part of his paycheck. Or was it something that's actually going to happen?
I think that all came about because he hired some administrator person to make, and the guy made more than he did. But he put some cap on administrators for state pay. But what they did is anybody who works over that dollar amount, they ran through county supervisors that don't have a limit on their pay, and then they're contracted back to the government.